Well, today we have another HMV Stereomaster, and this time it's the 2412. We've done the 2411, and this is the same but has the stereo decoder for the FM radio, but we'll still do it nevertheless as a separate video over 3 parts. We'll start with the turntable, then we'll move on to the chassis for the amplifier and the tuner, and then putting it back together. Now this is for a customer. This is a customer's property. He's bought it in the UK. It's a gentleman in Spain. And the first thing which I'm greeted with is an old 5 amp 2 pin mains plug, which back in the UK we had about 30 years ago. Well, that's going to go, and we're going to be putting a new 13 amp plug on. And of course for the customer in Spain, he'll have to change the plug to whatever they have in that country. And what I've noticed is when we open up the record compartment, I'm just going to kind of move the camera over to there, it still has a label on there which says that this product is fitted with a stereo decoder in the radio, which is just there. I've never seen that before. I must have done when we had the shop in Yorkshire but at the time, but I can't remember having seen those. So that hasn't had much use, and it's in lovely condition considering it's about 1971 to 73. So we'll start with the record turntable in a moment. Right, so we've now put a UK plug on it, which won't suit the gentleman in Spain, but that's what we've got to do. And we'll start by taking the platter off the turntable, which is C solid. Look at that. Will not move. My friend, if you can hear groaning in the background, my friend Bob's here and he's just groaning. So we take the centre decal out. Which, without scratching the customer's product, and without twisting it, we've managed to do it. And then we've got the circlip there. And what's supposed to happen is that the platter will then just lift off. And it may do, or it may need heat applying. No, it's coming off. And it's a metal platter on this BSR turntable. We need to take the spindle out, which has come straight. It just turned anti-clockwise and then pulled upwards. Now that's C solid, and that's probably going to have heat applied. And what we'll just start with is we'll take the idler off. So we've got the, I'll just see if we can zoom in on that for you. Right, so hopefully we can see, or you can see what we're doing better. So take that circlip off. I do have circlip pliers, but I can usually just get them off with a small screwdriver and put them back with my fingers. There's a thrust washer which is fiberboard, so I'm going to pull the idler off with that, and there's another one underneath. That's as stiff as anything. There's the one underneath. This one is going to come off eventually. There we go. So the idler is there and really stiff on that spindle. So what we're now going to do is get some kitchen paper and put some isopropyl alcohol on it, and Bob's going to pass me the kitchen paper. Thank you very much. That was alright. There we go, we'll put that back, and we'll look for that isopropyl alcohol, which is, trouble is this is too big for this bench. Ah, there it is. We'll just clean the muck off. And you'll see there is a bit on there. So next, whilst we've got that on the paper, just clean the idler with the isopropyl alcohol. And again, there's plenty of dirt come off that. Now we'll just use ordinary household oil, but I've got it in an aerosol can for convenience, and I've been past that as well. And the applicator we'll use. So I'm just going to put some on the spindle of the, make sure that's in the camera shot. It's there somewhere, there we are, just like that. And just sop up that out of the centre with the, so it doesn't go on there. So we've done that. With that that's come out, I'm then going to just put the oil on the spindle so that we don't get it all over the turntable. There we go. Put the fibre washer back and the idler back, which now spins a treat. The second fibre washer and the circlip, which hopefully I can do by hand. Just like that. There we have it. What I ought to have done while that was off is just clean the motor spindle, which is just there. It's a step spindle. It's 4 speed, 16, 33, 45 and 78, so it's 4 steps in the motor spindle. So that's that bit done. So next we need to take the, if the camera's just in the right position, it just needs to be back a bit, we'll take the cycle gear off for the auto mechanism. I've taken the circlip off there, and then this again pulls upwards. Now this is really seized and it might come up. Oh, it has done, yeah. Again, sometimes we have to apply heat. And underneath we've got toffee-like grease, which I'll be removing with the isopropyl alcohol, and the same has happened on the other side of there. So we'll just get that on the cloth again, just clean that off, clean that spindle. So that's got rid of that, and you can see what's come off there, which is awful. Run round that and get it out of there as well. This is the auto stop trigger, and although this one doesn't look seized, we'll still take it off. So we'll take the circlip off from there, and take that off. And again with the isopropyl alcohol we'll just clean that up, and we'll put some oil in between the leaves there. And on the spindle. We'll clean off the surplus. Put some on the spindle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run some oil into that centre, and then we'll kind of use it to help degrease what was there before. And then run ordinary household oil onto the spindle there, and using the surplus on the cloth, I'll just put it on the centre spindle there. That will do that one as well. So pop this mechanism back together. especially if we get it the right way up. And then put the circlip back on the top of that. Like that, and that's nice and free. And the plan is to get that engaged with that. Sometimes you've got to put a piece of string around there, pull it slightly, but we'll see how this one goes. Oh no, I've missed a stage. We need to just degrease this centre spindle. So same applies. I'll use the isopropyl alcohol on that and just get that nasty toffee-like grease up. I mean, this was C solid, so there we go. Put some oil on there. We'll put some oil down the spindle because there's some mechanism down there as well. Put that washer back. Put that, as I say, line that up with there. And hopefully, no, I'll pause the thing while we have put a piece of string in. So hopefully you can see that I've wrapped a bit of thread round there just to pull that forwards, because it's just not wanting to play ball with me here. And hopefully, no, it's still not wanting to play ball. But you get the general idea. The idea is to pull the bit of string and at the same time put that back together. And then pop the circlip back on there. Good. So I'll just pause the camera and I'll just clean the turntable. I mean, the whole product's very, very clean. One of the cleanest I've ever seen. It's immaculate. But I will just clean it up because while we've got that platter off, it seems a sensible thing to do. Okay, so we've cleaned up that compartment a bit. The next thing I'm going to do is just going to clean the inside of the platter where the rubber idler wheel engages. And I've just put some isopropyl alcohol on there, and we'll just run that round with the cloth just to make sure we don't have anything causing it to slip. In fact, we'll get another piece of that if I can manage not to trip over the camera. Oh no, Bob's going to fetch it me, thank you very much. We normally have Mr. Chippy here, but my retired friend Bob is here watching this today. In fact, I think we'll clean the top side of the platter. It's still got the plastic on this. That's incredible. So use the foam cleanser. Some of these we put in our company dishwasher, but I won't do it with this, with it being a customer's. They may not like that idea. There we go, and that should now, but I tell you what, we'll just put some, you've got the serrated bit there which engages with the cycle gear, so we'll just put some fraction of oil on there. There we go. And pop that down. And hopefully it isn't seized anymore. And it isn't, is it? Good. So I'm going to go to the trouble of putting the circlip back in the hope that we've actually done it successfully. I'm going to have to get the pliers on that one. And I'm not going to look for the circlip pliers, just use the snipe nose pliers there. Right, so that all looks spick and span. Now what I do want to do is to power it up, but we can't power it up with an amplifier in an unknown state. So I'm now going to put the product on its side, and we'll take the bottom off and we'll disconnect the electronics so that we can power up the turntable separately. So So it clearly says 2412 on the bottom, which is the one with the stereo decoder, as opposed to the 2411, which is the same but without the stereo decoder. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws to take out. The internal FM aerial is plugged in underneath. And of course you can take that plug out and you can connect an external area for in a poor reception area. So without further ado, we'll take the screws out. So what we've done, folks, is that plug which goes into the chassis of the Stereomaster, we've put into what we call a chop block, a screw connector block, and it's just the right spacing, and then put that on a 2-core mains lead with a mains plug on the end, which is fused at 3 amps, and I'll plug that in, and then we can check the turntable powered up but not through the amplifier chassis, because we know that it's 40 odd years old, we don't know when it was last switched on. I say it's a customer's, we can't be blowing it up, so we will not plug it in until we've changed all those capacitors. So I'll just pause the camera and we'll put it back on its bottom. So what we're going to do now is to put the spindle back in, and if I can find where we've put the kitchen roll again, Bob, if you'd be kind enough to get me a piece of it without tripping over the camera. Thank you very much. And what we're going to do, because this has a mechanism within it, all we tend to do is to just put some oil on it against the ordinary household oil, and we'll just make sure that's gone into the mechanism and pop that back in. There we go. I'm not putting the trim in yet until we know all this works properly. So what we'll just do is go into manual. Oh, we need to switch the power on. So we don't know when this was last run. I think this got some mechanism underneath once de-jamming. Considering this was a ceased turntable, at least it's moving now. Let's pop it onto 45 and we'll just put it into manual. We do check the speeds with a strobe platter, but can't really do that on camera to show you. No, that's all once. I will just go and see what linkages underneath need a bit of degreasing. So what we've had to do here, folks, is take the record turntable out of the cabinet and go through it rather more methodically underneath and trying to degrease and lubricate some of the linkages. Now I've got a record on here which is, I'll put a new stylus in, by the way, and we're going to do the tracking pressure in a moment. Before I do that, I'm just going to run this record through, make sure it's putting down in the right place and take it off. And as usual, we've got this propped up on 4 baked bean cans, or is it vegetable soup? So just switch that to auto, and let's hope it does all the right kind of things. And we can, that's a nice warped record, isn't it? What's this, Red River Rising? I'm not going to run that all the way through, not on camera anyway, so I'm just going to pause the camera, then when it comes towards the end I'll just make sure it's taking off in the right place. So we'll rejoin the record as it comes towards the end, and hopefully we've lubricated all the auto stop, because we don't know when this last worked. Last might have worked in 1973 for all we know. This is the problem, you just don't know where they've been. Oh, that's great. Right, now we'll do the tracking pressure and the anti-skate. So what we should have here is somewhere around about 2.5 to 4 grams. Well, we have got 2.3. I would like it a little bit higher than that. So let's have a look. We should just be able to adjust the back. Let's turn that to 3, I think. 3.1, that suits me. Now then, anti-skate control is one at the back here, and if that's currently on 2, so we'll just turn that to between the 2 and the 4, so that's on 3 as well. So whatever your pressure is, the anti-skate needs to correspond. So that's the tracking pressure done. I changed the stylus, as I say. The one that came out of it was okay, but I'd rather the customer have a brand new one. I will send back the one that came out with the job. Right, so there we have it. That's all set up, and the next video will be on the amplifier. And the amplifier also has a fault, so you'll see us sort that out too, with the 24 volt regulated power rail. And then the third video, we'll be putting this back in the cabinet and playing one of our infamous B-sides, and hope that the YouTube police don't delete it. Thanks for watching.